Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. This economic, what am I? Economic development appropriations. Okay, and we have one bill to consider, and it's one that I've introduced along with Chairman Harbin and Chairman Smith and Representative Floyd at 147th. And each of you have a handout in regards to this. This bill was introduced last year and just carried over. I'm going to ask Mr. Earl Moffis of the DOT. Earl, will you come up and in layman's terms describe what you come up with here where everyone can understand it, please?
You're not saying I'm going to make it hard, did you? I hope you're not thinking I'm going to make it too hard on everybody. Now, it's pretty straightforward. A lot of other states have access for their aviation program, both the avgas and the jet fuel. And currently those two fuels are taxed differently than regular state motor fuel. And the regular state motor fuel is, I'm trying to find my chart here, is taxed on an excise basis for avgas 1 cent on the gallon, where regular gasoline motor fuel is taxed 7.5 cents per gallon. So 1 cent of excise goes into the state transportation fund as motor fuel. And the sales tax on that goes into the general fund on avgas, and also jet fuel. The tax of that is treated just like the rest of a special fuel category, and it goes into the general fund as well. So those are the two categories that came up in the Joint Study Committee that was presented by some of the people from the General Aviation Association, Airport Association, and a couple of the other states. I think we had Florida that talked about their programs and how they sustained a revenue stream for their programs. So principally two categories of funds that are going into the general fund, and that's the avgas tax as well as the jet fuel tax. And we did a study. It was called the Georgia Aviation System Plan, and it was concluded back in the early to mid 2000s, and the report was released probably about 2003 or so, and it surveyed all the airports around Georgia, and that's how they came up with that figure of so I think the total amount at that time was about $35 million, if I'm not mistaken.
Earl, will you kind of address the committee on the needs we have? Tell us how many airports we have. What are our grant needs? I know there's many needs for airports, and it does exempt 2 or 3 airports, being Hartsfield, Jackson, Peachtree, DeKalb. I think it exempts Charlie Brown, that last information. I'm not sure, but it's all the airports around the state. So,
well, there's 103 general aviation airports in Georgia that are publicly owned, and that's a slight, because there's I think one privately owned one out there, or at least it was up until recently. Anyways, Florida, as an example, has several more, 105 general aviation airports, and their program last year was about $140 million, and our program, because there was an extra $5 million appropriated in addition to our regular operating, was slightly over $10 million for our program. And again, that doesn't include the authorities and other type of money they're generating as well. So again, we did a survey, a 25-year plan for resurfacing, meeting those needs, and spelling out the surface condition of all of our runways and taxiways, aprons. So that money would go to be used to make those improvements, as well as the aviation lighting, the electronics that goes with the navigational equipment that's required for certain level airports. And there are different tiers, 1, 2s, and 3s, or level 1, 2, 3 airports. So it's important that we maintain those, and part of it also goes toward making sure that we increase runway lengths to accommodate corporate jets. We're going to the 5,000-foot length runway, so it's important that we have enough funding to make that happen. And I've been asked by several people, Chairman Smith and several people in the Senate as well, looking at a list of projects like last year, and Chairman, I presented you a list of just what the Georgia Aviation System Plan shows as the needed improvements in the upcoming future, and that'd probably be based on our current funding level, about a 3 or 4 year program, based on about a $5 million level currently. So that information is available. It's done through pavement scorings and ratings. So again, our program compared to the rest of the Southeast, I think one state falls behind us in terms of total program dollars appropriated, but we do provide additional dollars through the federal program, which is sizable. So we are lucky enough to use our general fund dollars, since it is general fund cash, to leverage that against the federal program. So again, it's more than just that small amount. It is leveraged against the federal aviation program as well.
Any questions from anybody? Yes. What's your number there? 21? Okay.
Sure. So this constitutional amendment says that $34 million will go into Georgia Airport Aid Program, basically.
Yes, basically.
And we're showing the fiscal year 2002 that the Georgia Airport Aid Program only received $3.8 million. Has it received any since?
Every year there's a continuation budget, and on top of that there's additional dollars appropriated. Last year it exceeded $10 million in program dollars.
So the total...
And that would not include the federal part. I can get you the exact combinations over the last 3 or 4 years if you like, to give you an idea exactly what that money is.
So the total sources, as far as tax go, amount up to close to $100 million, with $69 million going into the general revenue fund, and pretty much we're looking at taking half of that $69 million out of the general revenue.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Legislative Council actually prepared this, bill. The only thing I'm familiar is with the testimony that took place at the Joint Study Committee. I'm not the author of this, but yes, I assume that's what was intended.
And that's needed for every year? Every year, or?
Yeah. What this does, Chairman Forrest, is actually aviation gas sales tax, jet fuel tax would go to the airport, since it's derived from the airport. So it's not like the 3 cents that's dedicated to the department now. It goes to the general fund. So this will go directly to GDOT, and also would be only spent on the 103 airports in the state.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from anybody? Comments? Steve, you want to ask something? Okay. Not really. I was just trying to be nice. So. No, sir, it's not. Okay. Representative Hanner, do you have any? Okay. I'll entertain a motion at this time.
Move to pass.
All right, we have a motion. Here, second. Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Earl Mathis. All right.